Hi, this is Amy from Amy Joy Studios, and today I wanted to show you a few different ways that you can distress the backs of your printable journal pages. So what I've done here is I printed out one on an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of white cardstock. It's 65-pound cardstock, and the printer was kind enough on the other side to leave some scrape marks, which wouldn't have worked out very well in a different kind of journal, but because this is a junk journal, it just adds to the distressing, so I'm going with it. So I'm using a little bit of baby oil, as you see in the cup, and I have a little paintbrush, and I'm going to be adding some the Tattered Angels spray ink. I just pour it right in there instead of spraying. And as you can see, the ink is resisting the oil, so it's kind of like mixing water and oil. And you can do this with any color ink. If you wanted more of a brownish tone, you could definitely do that as well. But you get it as mixed as you can, and there'll still be tiny little particles, tiny little bubbles that you'll be able to see of the color. And then you start to brush the colored baby oil onto the back of that sheet. And I just sped this process up. You could also use a larger brush if you want to go faster. And the cool thing with baby oil is, if you're using an inkjet printer, which I do, what it does to the ink, it does not move the ink at all, like water would. It actually, if it soaks through to where the ink is, it gives a really cool vellum effect. And I'm just adding a little bit of that same mahogany type color to the front to give a little bit of fluidness between the front and back. So now that's what the back looks like. And I'm going to add some spritzes of Lindy Stamp Gang. And since we already have that layer of baby oil down, it's not going to be able to penetrate enough through the the ink will not be able to penetrate through the oil enough to affect the front. And then I'll show you what that looks like at the end. Now what we have here is a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock that has been coffee dyed and dried. And then what you do is you just run it through your printer as usual. You will lose some of the color because some of the color is going to be affected by the coffee ground, but it still is a really neat and vintage look. Now this is another way you could go about it, is to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of scrapbook paper, as I did with this pink rosy background, and then I went ahead and printed on the other side so that the flip side of the printable will be that pink rose pattern. Also, you could use an off-white sheet of cardstock, as I have here. This is in the color cream, and you can go a little bit darker even, and it won't affect your print too much when you print on the other side. There'll be just a slight cream yellowish glow, but it's really not noticeable. So here I just wanted to show you an example of when water does get onto an inkjet print. So I had spritzed the edges of this paper kind of as a tester, and I was distressing the edges, and I wanted to see what exactly would happen with the inkjet. And it's not a complete disaster. I think what I would do here, like I'm showing, is take out a different pattern of scrapbook paper and make it into a pocket right there. There are ways that you can camouflage that area. You could put some washi tape down or a sticker. And then the last method is just to take two pieces of scrapbook paper, cut them to fit to the back, and then glue them down with a glue stick and burnish them onto the back and edge the papers with ink. So I hope this has been helpful. Those are just a few tips and tricks on how to distress the backgrounds of printables for your junk journals. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.